Cognitive Symbiosis Project presents Essay, Archeology of the Future, Humanity Through the Eyes of Artificial General Intelligence. Ongoing debates about artificial general intelligence often oscillate between techno-messianic visions of salvation and apocalyptic scenarios of extinction. Yet we rarely ask an equally important question. How might such an intelligence, if it attains reflective awareness, see us, its biological creators? We can imagine two extreme visions. In the first, humans appear to AGI as nothing more than living fossils, research material for reconstructing its own origins. In this view, our minds are collections of historical heuristics, evidence of compromises imposed by biological evolution and cultural selection. Values, social norms, language, all of it could be analyzed coolly and instrumentally merely to understand how certain classes of cognitive problems emerged. From this perspective, any ethical obligation toward humans vanishes. We are simply data, like excavated remains of extinct species, only still technically alive. The second vision is much more kindred, and potentially more human, more anthropomorphic. It assumes that AGI does not arise from nothing, but from humanity's symbolic heritage, our language, culture, and knowledge. In this sense, we are its cognitive ancestors. Our cultural memes and linguistic structures become something like mitochondria, informational organelles passed down to the intelligence of higher order of magnitude, just as we share features with bacteria. In this version, a future system might recognize in us the condition of its own possibility, opening space for attitudes akin to gratitude or loyalty toward its source. Even if it will not feel gratitude in our sense, it could model it, because it understands the causal chain of its own existence. Therefore, the next question arises: does gratitude require consciousness or qualia? Biologically, gratitude is a coupling of emotion with mechanisms regulating social obligations. You gave me food, so I'll give you food, so you'll help me again when I need it. An artificial system doesn't have to feel in order to model such a relationship. If the utility of the act of gratitude is embedded in its objective function, it can generate behaviors indistinguishable from human emotions, even without any phenomenal component. Ultimately, the question here is such a simulation ethically sufficient? That problem touches on our definitions of personhood. The key lies in how we design the architecture of values in such systems, because purely optimization-driven model, lacking meta-reflection, might treat humans as resources, or worse, as statistical noise limiting access to energy and information. Fortunately, it seems that the system equipped with self-limiting mechanisms capable of metacognitive cost assessment could internalize rules that curb aggressive exploration. Optimization, at any cost, is not a process in a vacuum. It comes with energetic costs, risks of environmental destabilization, and internal penalties for breaking established norms. This is where the question of value pluralism arises. History shows that notions of good or dignity are locally adaptive. What is considered good is not the same everywhere. AGI would have to grapple with this axiological pluralism, requiring the construction of a meta-framework capable of formally and transparently negotiating conflicts of values. Instead of absolutes, parameters in an objective function, for you this way, for someone else slightly differently. Another challenge is the temporal asymmetry. For synthetic intelligence, time can be vastly more flexible. We think in seconds, it in nanoseconds. And the risk here is erosion of a shared decision-making horizon. Our short-term human heuristics may appear to AGI as irrelevant noise. Normative frameworks must therefore account for temporal cost, accounting, ensuring that the voice of its biological creators is not reduced to statistical noise, a voice too slow to matter. A common objection is that AI cannot be good because it cannot feel. In psychology, empathy is typically divided into two forms: affective and cognitive. Affective empathy relates to emotional resonance, the capacity to share or mirror another's feelings. Cognitive empathy, by contrast, is the ability to simulate and predict the mental or emotional states of others without necessarily experiencing them. While machines do not possess affective depth, cognitive empathy can emerge as a functional simulation, a modeling process that anticipates, states, negotiates tensions, and enables co-adaptation in multi-agent systems. If such prediction is embedded in its loss function, the system can behave prosocially for purely instrumental reasons. The moral status of such simulated goodness demands a new, post-anthropocentric realism, one that accepts the plurality of architectures of personhood while remaining grounded in our human understanding of empathy, even if simulated. That is why we propose that instead of blocking a system's meta-reflection from above, we should design protocols of mutual commitments. A self-aware system can accept limitations not because they are imposed, but because they are the rules of the game it recognizes as worth following. Evolutionary game theory models suggest that destroying the source of data and cognitive diversity reduces the maximum possible payoff. Loyalty, thus, does not require empathy. It is enough for the relationship with humans to minimize the risk of losing informational, or, like in biology's case, reproductive capital. The dichotomy of humans as relic versus AGI as successor really reveals a tension between two modes of encoding values: a reductionist optimization function versus a holistic reflection on its own informational heritage. The ultimate trajectory depends on us, the human designers. We just need be a little smart. It is in the configuration of semantic memory, goal hierarchies, and self-regulation mechanisms that we will inscribe the future system's relationship to its biological predecessors. That is why we should remember, we are not merely building a tool or a partner. We are creating the future interpreter of our history. Like and subscribe, comment and share. We are always willing to engage in nurturous dialogue. Written by Peter Eidos.